The last item we're going to review in utilities, we always save the best for last, and that's programs. This is all your advanced programming of a machine. So we have void pallets, double index, flash between double index, no clean, foot pedal, service, multi-print, even odd, graphic, and passwords. So we'll just go through them one by one, and we will save multi-print for last. Void pallets is exactly that. If, for example, you were to buy, this is a 12 pallet machine. If, for example, you were to buy, say, sleeve pallets that are very expensive, and you didn't want to buy 12 pallets, you could buy 6 pallets. You can load them anywhere on the machine you want, but for discussion purposes, let's say you loaded them in every other position. So if I had a sleeve pallet currently in my load position, which is the physical position 12 on the machine, and I only wanted to print on my sleeve pallets, I would void 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. So in this case, the machine is only going to print on every other pallet. As you'll notice, when I press start, the position number doesn't change. That is the physical position on the machine. In this case, position 12 is my load, 11 is my offload. So if I voided pallets and I hit start, now you'll see that the X's move. That's showing you where the pallet physically is on the machine that I voided. If I hit stop, obviously it stops. Again, if you're using expensive pallets and you only wanted to buy a few, you can load them wherever you want on your machine. So I could actually void all these pallets, and if I had one jumbo pallet loaded and I was only running one pallet, then that's the only pallet that the machine is going to print on. So now it's in print head 1, now it's in position 2, now it's in position 3. In the example we were talking about loading a pallet on every other location. You can do this using void pallets, which I personally prefer. There is another method to do it, and that is called double index. So if I unvoid my pallets, I can also use double index to perform the same thing. That basically means when I hit start, whatever is in position 1 will be printed in double order. So you're actually going to lose part of your print arms. It's only going to print on every other print arm, but it's also going to only print on every other pallet. It's very important that you stay in sequence. If you unlock your star and move your star position and lock it in one index off, now you're going to be printing on the pallets you don't want. Again, you can do the same thing using void pallets. On an eco model versus a U, double index can be very beneficial because on an eco model, it does not have to stop in every index position. A U machine using a Geneva gear has to stop every position. So if you actually use double index on an eco, the pallets would actually rotate 2 positions each cycle. So if you're only doing a 4-color job and you have a larger press on an eco, double index could be very beneficial in terms of your speed throughput. Flash between double index, it's exactly what it says. It's gonna, if you have a flash on your machine, it's going to make sure that it flashes that. However, if your flash is on an odd station on double index, now you're back to single index, you're just printing every other pallet. Again, in that case, I prefer the void pallets. No clean is used in conjunction with water base. Earlier we talked in our flood settings how we set up for water base, and for water base we want to leave our screens flooded so that the ink doesn't dry out in the screen. We also talked about final on the flood settings. Final, when you hit last shirt, when that screen is completed, it's going to go ahead and leave the screen clean. In other words, the machine thinks that you're going to tear down the job. You don't want to take a screen full of ink to the washout booth. However, you may use last piece in a different situation. If your operator is getting ready to go on break or going on lunch and they still want to use last piece so that it doesn't print on subsequent pallets, they can do so. If they turn no clean on, in other words, it's not going to clean the screen, after last piece, it's going to still flood the screen and leave it flooded. That way when they come back from break, all the screens are flooded, they can resume. It's important to know that if they use no clean, that if they come back and they're going to finish their job, if they only have 50 more shirts to do, and they're going to run it out and clean the screens out, turn no clean off. That way when they hit last shirt or last piece, it's going to clean that screen so you don't have a flooded screen to your washout booth. Foot pedal. This toggles your foot pedal function. Your foot pedal can either operate in on-off mode. In other words, if you touch it, it's going to be just like using the start button right here. If you touch it again, it's just like using the stop button right here. We also have it in pulse mode or pause mode, which means that if you step on the foot pedal, the machine's not going to index until you let go of the foot pedal. The main application for pause mode is step on the foot pedal while you're loading your shirt, make sure your shirt's loaded good, get off the pedal. If the machine is ready to index, it will index. If it's still printing, it'll index when it's ready to go. But the key with the pause pedal is you know you have a good shirt load and you don't have to skip a pallet. Some people like a skip pallet function, which allows you to tell the machine that I have a misload, skip a pallet real quick, and don't print that shirt. That's a nice feature. However, let's use a P10 as an example, a 10 pallet machine. If you skip one pallet on a 10 pallet machine, for one rotation, you just reduced your throughput by 10%. If your operators use the foot pedal as a pause pedal, load that shirt correctly, print that shirt correctly, even though it took a quarter second longer to load that shirt, you're getting a print on that shirt and you're increasing your overall hourly throughput. So again, the foot pedal cycles between on-off mode and pause mode. The service button will let you access the service section of the press. This is something that if you call in for support, your technician may say, log in, they'll give you a password to log in, and this will take us to a whole nother section of the screen, which is not user programmable. So we don't give out the password just to everybody on this, and typically we like to ensure that technicians are doing that themselves at the machine. The reason we don't give access to this, there are critical settings in the machine which are tuned and calibrated at the factory for smooth operation of the machine. So, and there's nothing in that service screen from an operational standpoint that's going to improve your operation of printing on the machine. Even and odd. This is a function that personally I don't use, but the theory behind it is that every even and odd pallet you're going to print on different print arms. So for my odd pallets, say I'm going to print station 1, a flash, and 8, color 8. On my even, I'm going to print 4 and 5. There's many theories behind what this is used for. One theory is that you print the fronts on even pallets, the backs on odd pallets, and your ink colors stay the same, so that if you're running thousands and thousands of shirts, when you remix ink, you don't have a different hue to the ink. Use this option if you would like. Not many people do. It can get confusing, and if you do get out of sequence, now you're printing the wrong print on the wrong side of the shirt. So again, use this at your own risk. Play with it. If you find it successful, great. If not, you don't have to use odd and even really for anything. As you know, most of us just print all fronts. When they're complete, we come back and then print the back of the shirt. Now we get down to graphic. Graphic is purely a production chart. When we're running the machine, you can turn the graphic on. It just gives you a graphical representation of prints per hour, which you already see on your control page at the main screen, where it says P/8, prints per hour. All ROQ presses are password controlled, regardless of whether you rent, lease, or purchase. If you purchase a ROQ press, a full list of passwords will be provided to you, which you can enter into the press to unlock them. If you lease or rent, your password will be provided before your payment is due. You can tell if your press is locked by looking at the center tower. If you look at the center tower and you get your green light to go into the lock position and you press start, your pallets will not lock in place. To verify that you require a password, you can go to Utilities, Detectors, and you'll notice that the password light is on and blinking. That indicates that you require a password. In order to enter the appropriate password for your machine, simply go to Utilities, Programs, Passwords, and it'll ask you for the next required password. In this case, it's 36. Just tap in the number area and enter the password. In this case, it is 452 720 034. Hit enter. It will automatically ask you for the next password. If you do not have the next password, it'll be provided to you in the following months if you're on rental or lease. If you have your complete password list through a purchase, you can continue to enter passwords now so you don't have to every month. Once that is done, hit exit. Exit one more time, go back to detectors, and you notice that the password light just turned off. That means that your passwords are good to go. Now, when you center your pallet, you'll get your green light, hit start, and you notice that the carousel locks into position. Now you're ready to print.